Whether you drive a car,
need a car,
or just occasionally bum a ride with friends,
you've come to the right place.
Join Jill and Tom as they break down everything that's going on in the auto world.
New car reviews,
Shopping tips,
driving green,
electric cars,
classic cars,
and plenty of great guests.
This is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast.
All right, this is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast. I am Tom Appel. She's Jill Ciminillo. Thanks for joining us today. When you get a chance, check us out at consumerguide.com. While you're there, check out our 2024 Best Buy picks. I think we talk about those next week.
We do.
We do. So more on those soon. You can also stream back episodes of the podcast right there on our homepage. As I teased a moment ago, she is Jill Ciminillo. She is a North American Car of the Year juror. She is editor-in-chief.
No.
Managing editor.
One day you were going to get that right.
I have notes in front of me, but it just never seems that important for me to write it down. She is managing editor of Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and her freelance work can be found several places on the internet. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing well.
You've been other places.
I have. I've been other places.
And you drove the Lexus GX 550.
I did.
And you can't talk about it yet.
I cannot give you driving impressions yet. That is correct.
But we do know it's now 550, not 500.
That is correct. So, it's 550. Right now it has the 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6 engine. It's 349 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque.
Lots of torque.
Lots of torque. And a hybrid engine is coming, but we don't have any details.
To clarify the big numbers.
Yes.
That's the GX.
GX.
There's also already an LX.
And a TX.
And a TX. But the LX is of the old school rear drive off-road.
Yes.
Drive it through the Sahara kind of truck.
Yes. So this is built on the same platform as the Tundra and Tacoma. Mm-hmm. So it was the GAF platform, I think is what they call it.
Good bones.
Good bones. And here's an interesting fun fact for you.
Oh.
Lexus has decided this vehicle competes with the Defender, the Land Rover Defender, which obvious.
Reasonable.
But then also the BMW X5, the BMW X7, and the Mercedes-Benz GLE.
I don't question that this is a good vehicle. That's a lot of fence straddling for me.
Yeah, well,
you've got the very civilized side and the very rugged side.
Exactly, but here's the other interesting thing.
Yeah,
it is the only body-on-frame vehicle in this category now.
Is that right?
Defender is unibody.
I don't know if I knew that about the Defender. Interesting.
I guess I knew that, but didn't know that until they really pointed it out. And I'm like, I got a GTS because I'm not sure that's correct, but it is correct.
You know an interesting vehicle like that? Dodge Durango is unit body.
Okay.
But it's default rear drive.
Yep.
And you used to be able to get a V8 stuffed under the hood of it, but it was a unibody vehicle.
Yeah.
Also, for people who don't remember this part, and you have to start to sort of be a little bit older in the industry for a while, the Durango is actually based on the old Mercedes-Benz ML from back in the Daimler Chrysler days.
That's a long time ago.
Just a little history.
That was before their Cerberus days.
It was before Cerberus, and Cerberus kind of bought Chrysler out of the relationship. They were the Bounce.
The Bounce?
The Bounce. After,
got it.
Yeah, Fiat, or not Fiat Chrysler.
Before.
Daimler Chrysler.
Right.
All righty. What was I going to talk about here real quick? We don't have donuts today.
No, we don't have donuts.
We have a cherry
We
turnover.
have something else.
And a banana nut muffin.
Yeah, so I
hope that's okay.
I'm going to opt for the banana nut muffin.
When you walk into a donut shop, even though it's a 24-hour donut shop, when you walk in there at 3 p.m., you may not see a fully stocked shelf of donuts.
Maybe not.
Because they probably just back away to the more common, popular stuff.
Well, people come in for afternoon coffee and sweets, not a donut.
Yeah. We're going to be talking auto shows in a moment with our friend Jennifer Morand over at the Chicago Automobile Trade Association.
Yep.
They've got a lot going on this year.
Yeah. Chicago Auto Show starts next week.
And I'm just going to tease this now, though we will be talking to Jennifer about it. And that's that the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Happens.
It does.
The second day of the auto show.
Second full public day, yeah.
So if you are in Chicago and thinking about going to the auto show and you don't care, if you don't care about the Super Bowl,
go to the auto show because it'll be a dead day.
It'll be a dead day.
But so also on that day to kick off, and we've talked about this a little bit last week, to kick off the auto show, they're doing on Sunday morning a race on the auto show floor, a running race.
I don't know if we could talk about running again.
We can't. We should
talk.
We're going to talk about it 3 weeks in a row because, I've signed up for the race 4 weeks in a row. I've signed up for it. Miles per hour.
That's not. There's no 4 weeks of content.
There's totally 4 weeks of content in that because, we can talk about it happening, and then I can talk about what it looked like after the fact. So much exciting content about running.
Oh,
I know you're absolutely.
So the
thrilled.
running thing takes place the same day as the Super Bowl.
It does.
So
before the Super Bowl.
So people who want to work off their French onion dip in advance.
Exactly. Go run the race, and then you get early access to the show, and then you can see all the show, and then go back and watch the game if you want.
Yeah.
Or the commercials.
I know people want to do this. I know you want to do this.
The race, yes.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
All right. Why don't we talk to Jennifer?
All right.
On the phone is Jennifer Morand. She is the general manager of the Chicago Auto Show. She is very busy right now. Jennifer, how are you?
Hi, guys. I'm good. How are you?
Now, you probably just had your first kickoff meeting today, right? A couple weeks out. A lot to do.
Well,
the first kickoff meeting.
The first kickoff meeting. Yeah, no, I didn't catch that. I'm like, wait a second. We're wrapping up everything. We have a move down to McCormick Place this Thursday, so we are ready to go.
I just want to make this clear. You live down there during the auto show.
We do, and it sounds crazy, but because
does.
the convention center is so close to the hotel, it's just literally connected. It makes for just an ease commute when we're there, early hours and then late into the evening. So it's nice that our team just kind of moves in. And then, I always love it too because your mind's all auto show all the time anyways. So to be there, you really feel like you're ingrained in the production and, the logistics and everything. So no, it's a good time.
So to be clear, you get a room at the hotel. You don't just unroll like a bedroll in the back of a Buick Enclave.
I'm sure you can get pretty creative. I have to give a shout out to our friend. I don't know if you remember this, Tom and Jill. Our friend Wendy Orsman.
I remember this.
Who was at FCA at the time, or maybe that was back in the Chrysler days. But No, that was Nissan.
It was Nissan.
It was Nissan because she had a couple journalist friends stay under the stars, if you will, indoors at the auto show. And what we didn't realize when Wendy was coming up with this great plan was that all the lights would still be on. So the journalists got no sleep. So I think I'm going to stick with the hotel room.
Probably wise. Although I bet the Subaru booth would be a nice place to camp. I'm just going to put that out there.
That's true.
They're bringing in mosquitoes this year.
Oh, to make it really lifelike?
Yeah, to make it realistic. Subaru's bringing in mosquitoes. All right, you've got an auto show coming up. Tell us about that because it's a big deal.
Yes, we do. So we open our doors on February 10th. So that's coming right around the corner here. So then we'll go through President's Day on the 19th. And, yeah, we're shaping up to be a great show. We are just all the planning is kind of coming into place. We have our map up officially now on our website, chicagoautoshow.com.
Oh, cool.
I know there's a couple of really exciting events that are taking place. I think you were just talking about the Miles Per Hour Run, which is going to be on our little Sunday, the big game morning. So it's a great time to come on out. But if you're not into running, we also have a craft beer tasting event called Chicago Friday Night Flights, and that is going to take place on the final Friday, which is February 16th from 5 to 8 p.m. I do want to mention real quick, too, people who are listening to your show, I know have been coming probably to the auto show. They're somewhat familiar with the show. So we are going to be closing an hour early this year just to kind of give a heads up. So, 9 p.m. instead of 10 p.m.
And that's every day, right? And then on the last day, also 9 p.m.?
Every day except last day, 8 p.m. It's just an hour early.
Okay.
And then Super Bowl Sunday is the one big caveat. So we are going to close that day at 6 p.m. on February 11th, a Sunday, because it's just people. I mean, I guess people like, there's a little big game going on here. I don't know. I don't know what's more important than the auto show, but yeah.
But that is a great day, though, for people to go down, right? Because it's probably going to be quiet early that day.
Yes, and we're actually running a fun special on that day, too. It's called Game Day at the Chicago Auto Show, and we're offering a discounted ticket at $5 off regular adult admission. So just wear your favorite sports team apparel. We're not going to get too crazy. It doesn't have to be NFL team. Could be college. Could be a backyard league. We're really just kind of have fun with the day. Wear your favorite sports gear. receive $5 off your ticket, or you could head to our website and pre-purchase the ticket in advance.
So what's cool if you're bringing the kids down there?
So we're going to have various displays. I know we just talked about Subaru. They have a whole new display this year. So I haven't seen it yet. I'm very excited to see it. But, incorporating the National Parks exhibit almost feels like you're immersed in it, which is super neat. Puppies, I know, are the draw. We're speaking of Subaru. Their pet adoptions are coming back. I had to pry my 9-year-old daughter at the time away from the Subaru display last year because she wanted to take home another dog.
Wait, to be clear, you guys grabbed a puppy from Subaru before last year?
Oh no, we had a puppy. We had a puppy separately, but she wanted another dog. I should have clarified.
Of course she did.
Yes, she did. So we're going to have that. And then we have our test tracks. We have a couple indoor test tracks coming back, which are always a highlight. Ford has their Built Wild Bronco track. So it literally feels like you're on a roller coaster indoors with their Bronco Mountain. And then Hyundai is going to have their EV electric vehicle track back as well. And then our Chicago Drives Electric track is coming back this year, but I'm excited to share that we're nearly doubling the amount of brands that are going to be on the track this year. So we'll have 9 brands in total right now, and all of those participants are found on our website.
That's cool. Jennifer, correct me if I'm wrong here, but after an absence, Mazda is back. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So Mazda is returning with the help of Napleton Auto Group. So we're excited to be able to feature the full Mazda vehicle lineup at the auto show. We also are welcoming a brand for the first time, Lucid.
Wow.
We'll have vehicles on the our Chicago Drives Electric EV track, as well as a static air for people to take a glance at. And you never know; we might have 1 or 2 more coming in. You just really don't know until the doors open.
Yeah, if people haven't seen the Lucid Air, it's an incredibly cool-looking vehicle at a distance and even cooler up close. Mm-hmm. And then as far as Mazda goes, the CX-90, one of the nicest new crossovers of the last couple of years. An incredibly good car.
Agreed.
So that's cool. Oh, wow. So tell us about First Look for Charity.
Yeah, so First Look for Charity will be on Friday, February 9th from 7 to 11 p.m. That's our black tie gala for those who aren't familiar. It's really just a wonderful night. Besides the great food and musical entertainment, all of that, getting dressed up is, just a night out. But it's all for a really, really good cause. So 18 local charities are represented, and people have the ability to choose where their donations go. For example, if you want to split it amongst all the 18 charities, that's great. If there's one particular charity that you feel strongly about supporting, you can direct all the funds to go to that particular charity. And the cool thing that people might remember is that we also do a vehicle giveaway that evening. So this year we're going to be giving away a 2024. Yeah, right. Who wouldn't? It's always the highlight. It's people's questions. What can I what can I win? And hey, vehicles goes along with the theme. So 2024 Blazer up for grabs this year.
Wow.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I love the Black Tie Auto Show every year. I always buy tickets for my husband to go because I usually get a comp ticket, but I buy a ticket for my husband. And I always, even though I've been there for 2 days, I'm so excited, and I literally drag him around the floor. Come look at this. Come look at this. You got to see this. You got to see that. So,
and Jill, you've been there too for the media preview, so you have a leg up, on Jonathan. You know exactly what to expect. So
exactly. So I'm always excited, and I have to say, Tom and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. My dad, who recently passed away, this was his favorite event of the year. When he could come, he would always come with me, and so this year I'm looking forward to going, and I'm going to have to go sit in a Corvette and have my photo taken, and think of him.
Oh, Jill, that's so touching. I didn't realize that was one of his favorite events.
Oh, it really was. He loved wearing a tuxedo. And I remember bringing him with me. And our friend Kirk Bell was like, "Why are you bringing your dad to this event?" And I'm like, "Because I want to. Go away."
Oh, I love that. One year I purchased tickets for my parents to come, and by far my dad he just loved it. And I'm fortunate to have both parents, but unfortunately just their health, in terms of walking, and their health is great now. So I like you, I really think fondly of that time. And it's just a fun night out, like you said, your dad getting dressed up in a tux, and there's a red carpet. You can pose for a photo opportunity and buy the vehicle that will be given away later that evening. So really just what a nice night out. And it's Friday night, so it's
good date night.
It's the weekend. Yeah, great date night.
So, Jennifer, how do people get tickets, and what's one more thing we should know about the show?
So tickets for First Look for Charity are found on firstlookforcharity.org, or you can head to chicagoautoshow.com. And really, what I would leave people with, and just to kind of take away, is this show is unique, and I don't want this to be kind of the elephant in the room. Unfortunately, Stellantis brands are not participating this year. Mm-hmm. They're out of all shows, most shows, at least through Q1. So it's really disappointing, but that shouldn't deter people. We have a great lineup of brands coming. We have everybody coming back, with the exception of Stellantis brands, and then even more brands than last year. So we always say this: if we were in the position of Stellantis, everything was none of that happened, we would say we've built back. Coming out of the pandemic, mm-hmm. we've had a couple tumultuous years with obviously the pandemic and then the inventory chip shortages and that. But what I would really encourage the people listening is that it's gonna be different. We're gonna be in the South Hall. But it's going to be a jam-packed show. We actually moved portion of the wall in the back, so it's the South Hall but expanded. So 340,000 square feet. So we're still shy of 1 million. I mean, it's not. You're thinking about if it's in one hall or smaller, but it's really not. It's going to feel really exciting with the tracks and the various brands back. So. I would. I'm really looking forward to a good, solid show this year.
Jennifer, good luck with the show, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. See you there.
That was Jennifer Morand with the Chicago Auto Show. Thing about the Chicago Auto Show, I'm not going this year. I got my bum knee. I got to have surgery, so I can't walk. Basically,
we could get a cart for you.
No, I won't do that. I won't do that. But here's the thing: first show I'm missing since I think '77, might be '76.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And in 77, I broke the law, which was kind of cool.
That sounds like a story.
I was down at the show with my buddy Chris Ward, 1977. I think my parents just dropped us off, which was foolish. And
yes.
And there was a vehicle on display in the Plymouth booth. It was the Plymouth Fire Arrow, which was built for Plymouth by Mitsubishi. There was a Mitsubishi version of that vehicle that was very good. It's a very nice little car, but it's a sports coupe. Think Celica, think Scirocco, something like that. But the door locks in that vehicle were built into the armrests, kind of on the underside. Mm-hmm. You couldn't find them once you were in the car. Mm-hmm. So me and my buddy Chris were sitting in the front seat, pretending we're driving because we didn't have licenses yet, and making vroom vroom noises. It was totally what we did 90% of the time. Yeah. Anyway, when we left the car, we realized we could lock the doors in advance of slamming them shut, which was a thing you used to be able to do. So we just did that, watched a couple get in, and then watched that couple struggle to get out 5 minutes later. Very funny. And then we left. For all I know, those people are still in that car.
They are still. They had to get towed out in that car. And can't you just see the Plymouth staff saying, "No, they're underneath," like trying to make the motions. Go underneath, like pointing and like.
That's how I'm hoping it went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should have stayed to take pictures.
We should. We didn't have cameras in those days. Yeah.
No Polaroids?
No.
All
Chicago Auto Show. So I'm missing my first one in a very long time.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
I am too, but I will be following it closely and writing about it and talking about it, so it'll be cool.
All right.
But I won't be down there.
Boo.
Which is kind of a bummer.
That is a bummer.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we talk to John Vincent of U.S. News and World Report. Stick around.
Questions or comments?
Drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.
That's carstuff@consumerguide.com. Welcome back to the Car Stuff Podcast.
All right, we're back. I'm Tom. She's Jill. This is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast. What do I usually do now, Jill?
Talk about yourself.
I do, yeah. I'm on Twitter. I'm on X. I am Car Guy Tom.
X Twitter?
I spotted a car, and I can pretend like I spotted it, but my wife spotted it, and I don't know why she took a picture of it.
Because she knows you do a thing.
She does, but I don't know why she knew this car was interesting.
You're not giving your wife credit.
Not in this case. This one's weird.
Hopefully she does not listen.
She doesn't. She spotted a Mitsubishi Lancer Rally Art Sport Wagon. Okay. A vehicle that was around for, I think, one model year. Okay. Kind of a crazy little thing, but the Lancer, we knew it for the Evo, right? The hot turbocharged version. Yeah. But there were big 2.4 liter non-turbo gas engine versions that were pretty sporty in different iterations over the years, and this was one of them. This is a cool looking car.
Yeah.
but very rare. But that's the kind of fun you'll get, the kind of fun you'll enjoy.
If you follow you on Twitter, I can't call it X on
yeah,
Twitter.
whatever. Yeah, I am Car Guy Tom.
Okay, car_guy_Tom.
That's me.
Yes.
Yeah, follow me for fun prizes.
Just being helpful here.
Yeah. All right. On the phone right now is John Vincent of U.S. News and World Report. He's senior editor, and we're going to be talking about dollar value. John, how's it going today?
It's going well.
Thank you for joining us today. Where do you herald from? Where are you calling from?
I am in Portland, Oregon. Our office is in Washington, D.C., but I'm here in Portland.
Well, thanks for joining us today. You guys recently put out a list of the best car values, best cars for the money for 2024. Tell us about that list.
Well, let's talk a little bit about how we come up with this list. We base everything off research, so this list is based off of a car's long-term value. We don't just throw darts at a dartboard. We look at the research.
Oh, but that would be so much fun, John.
I know, but...
But you don't do that. Got it.
We want our research to be valuable. So we look at not only a car's quality using our rankings, but we also look at its 5-year cost of operations, knowing that, the cheapest car to buy might not be the best value over time.
Right.
So we break them down into 11 different awards this year, and we had 3 companies that were big winners.
I saw
Honda
that.
had 4 awards, Kia had 4 awards, and Hyundai had 3 awards.
So Honda, Kia, and Hyundai, and there are no U.S. brands on this list, I notice.
There are no U.S. brands on this list, but most of these cars are actually made in America.
Well, that's an interesting caveat. Just go ahead and walk us through the list. Let's talk about these cars.
Let's start with the best cars for the money. Best compact car for the money, Honda Civic. Been around forever, gets better with every generation.
I'm inclined to agree, and I think that this Civic might be the best Civic ever built and one of the best consumer-oriented cars ever built. And now that it's almost Accord-sized,
right?
Yeah, it's just a heck of a value.
It's a great value, and it's still a pretty competitive segment. It goes up against the Corolla, and nobody's ever gotten in trouble with their father for buying a Corolla.
That would be true.
John, I say that all the time. I say that the Corolla exists because dads exist. And that
exactly.
When you're buying a car for your kid, you think, what's just the safest, most reliable, easiest way to do this that I know is going to have great value, resale value down the road? And I think Corolla. And if my daughter's going to have a car in another state and I can't help her, I hope she's in a Corolla because it's just safe. Safe in terms of
because it's even better.
Yep. But the Corolla mystique is a thing that has been passed on from generations of dads.
Absolutely. Dads and moms. Let's not leave moms out of this.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's not leave the moms out.
All right. What else is on the list, sir?
Best midsize car is the Honda Accord. A new generation of Accord.
Very good car.
The Accord has really grown up since the 1983 Accord that was my first car. Finalist for North American Car of the Year, the new Accord is fantastic.
Yeah, that is a fine car. And the hybrid, they've done away with the 2-liter turbo, which bums me out, but the hybrid is so good you almost don't miss it.
And they've gotten rid of the V6, a few years ago.
Yep.
And I used to love V6 Accords, but you know what? The new 4-cylinder turbos are even better.
They're pretty good. All right. What else we got, sir?
Best hybrid car for the money, Hyundai Elantra Hybrid. Kind of gets hidden by the Prius. People don't think Hyundai Elantra when they think hybrid, but with the price of the Prius, the Elantra is actually a much better deal.
Interesting thing, too, about hybrid versions of gasoline-powered cars. There used to be a big price gap between the two, and you'd have to sit down and noodle it out and think, well, will I save any money on gas doing this, in terms of does it make up for the higher payments? But that's not the case anymore, is it? The hybrids don't cost that much more than the gasoline-powered alternatives, do they?
In some cases, it's a wash. They don't cost any more.
Yeah, so definitely something to consider there. What else do we have, sir?
Let's get into SUVs.
All right.
And this one, it's classed as an SUV. There's some argument there. Best subcompact SUV for the money is the Kia Soul.
That's always a quirky, good little car. I've never had any problems with the Kia Soul.
No.
The Soul has so much utility. it's so easy to load and unload, a ton of interior room, and super cheap to buy and super cheap to own because it has the Kia 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain warranty.
Yeah, the magic of the Soul, I think, is that Kia...
It's the hamsters.
It was the hamsters. But if you remember that, like, the boxes are gone, right?
Yeah.
There was the Scion XB.
Yeah.
There was the Nissan Cube. And those failed, but Kia managed to combine good looks with really great space utility and make it work. And now they're alone kind of in that weird box on wheels segment. But what a nice car. Just great utility for the wheelbase and for the footprint, easy to park, affordable.
Well, and it continues to evolve.
Yeah, exactly. It's a far cry from the first Souls, which were, pretty rough. But the new Soul is pretty good.
All right. We were on the SUV list here, sir.
Best compact SUV for the money, Hyundai Tucson.
Interesting.
Another car that kind of gets hidden, in that class with the RAV4 and the CRV.
Right.
But when it comes down to, long-term value, the Tucson's fantastic. Again, that 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty puts it over the top.
Is that what does it, the warranty? Because when I think about this class, and I think the Tucson's excellent, but I always think CRV and I always think RAV4, and I think great resale value. But you're saying the warranty tosses it over there, huh?
It does.
Okay, cool. What else you got?
Best two-row SUV for the money. Kind of an old standard that still works. Honda Passport. Honda's given it a little bit more toughness in its current generation, it's a good value, even though it has a pretty high sticker price compared to some of its rivals. And
if you want a V6, this still has a V6.
This still has a V6. It's a midsize SUV, a smallish midsize SUV that you can tow a reasonable amount with.
All right. What else do we have?
Of course, since this is a list of winning vehicles, Kia Telluride.
Oh, yeah.
That's three-row SUV for the money.
So you may or may not have insight on this, but why Kia Telluride over the Hyundai sibling, the Palisade?
I can't answer that. I think, when I think of Kia and Hyundai, I think Kia is the Pontiac, Hyundai is the Buick, and reviewers generally kind of go towards the sportier.
Right.
And that shows up in our rankings.
Got it.
I think that's true. I mean, when you talk to colleagues about those two vehicles, and they're mechanically very similar. Chassis tuning is different. Obviously, trim is different, and they're priced a little different, but they're fundamentally the same vehicle. People we know in the business tend to prefer the Kia.
Yeah, I actually like the Palisade. I'm the odd man out.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has more features.
I might actually like the Palisade ride and handling better, but I don't know. I'd have to drive them back to back, and I haven't done that.
Yeah, I'm the odd man out. I'm fine.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, we're used to you being the odd man out.
That would be true.
Yeah. The interesting thing about the Telluride and the Palisade is if you want to order one, you're likely to get the Telluride much quicker than the Palisade because the Palisade is still built in Korea.
Interesting.
That is very interesting.
In your opinion, does that have any impact on build quality?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think from what I've seen, the stuff coming out of Kia's plant in Georgia is fantastic.
Cool. All right. What else do you have on the list, sir?
Let's get into the...
I'm like, another Kia.
Alternative fuels. It's another Kia. Sportage Hybrid. Best hybrid SUV for the money. And its sister vehicle, Kia Sportage Plug-in Hybrid. Best plug-in hybrid SUV for the money.
Now, tell us about that plug-in hybrid. Is that about, I don't remember, about 35 miles of range?
Somewhere in there. It depends on the weather. It depends on how you drive, where you're driving. Basically, most of the plug-in hybrids cover your day's commute, and then you just charge them at night.
Right.
So, you're never burning a drop of gas during the week. On the weekend, when you take the longer drive, it operates like a normal hybrid.
Do you know how readily available the Sportage plug-in hybrid is? Because, if you were opting for something like the RAV4 Prime, I know you can't get it. It's very hard to get. Do you have an inkling of if the Sportage plug-in hybrid is available?
Actually,
much more available than the Prius Prime.
I don't know if that's 50 state. Is that available 50 state?
I don't know the answer to that question.
We'd have to check on that. It's probably available in most states, but they've been selective about where they market plug-in hybrids. Just they don't want to put them where there isn't that much of a market for it.
They've been putting them in the ZEV mandate states.
Right.
Yep.
Where you have to sell zero-emission vehicles. The thing about the RAV4 Prime is that car was basically designed for Europe, and the United States got a few of the leftovers.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
I personally think that plug-in hybrid is the best kind of vehicle to own because you get the benefit of an electric range, for your commute. But then if you need to go 200 miles to, I don't know, go see your parents on a regular basis, you don't have to worry about stopping in Lafayette, Indiana to charge.
I have issues with this, and I don't want to waste John's time on this, but I don't believe everyone plugs them in.
Probably not.
Which makes them a tremendous waste of money and weight. You're just dragging around.
But if you plug them in, not a waste of money.
No, if you plug them in, it's great.
Yeah.
I just don't think people do that.
They sell a lot of them in California because it gets you carpool lane access.
Which is huge out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge deal.
I actually own a plug-in hybrid, and I love my plug-in hybrid, and I do charge it every night.
I was going to say, do you plug it in?
I do.
Good. Good on you.
It's charged every night.
Glad to hear that. We got 3 cars left on the list, I think?
Well,
2 cars left on the list.
What did I miss? Oh, okay, we got a Elantra hybrid. Okay, never mind. Yep, go ahead. Sportage plug-in.
Hyundai
Ioniq 5 from Hyundai. Best electric SUV for the money. Looks are a little polarizing. Not sure how it's going to age, but it does everything right for an electric car. Good range, fast charging, when you can find a fast charger that works, Jill.
Yes, that would be true.
Just, lots of cabin room because of the way that Hyundai packages their cars. They don't have a frunk like a lot of electric SUVs, but that translates into massive amounts of cabin room, flat floor, easy to get into and out of. Just a great little car for the money.
Yeah, and I want to give all the credit in the world to the designers of this vehicle because they make so much good use of the fact that it's electric. The floor is completely flat. You can walk right through the vehicle. It's incredibly spacious and airy. Additionally, for an electric vehicle, the drive experience is decidedly conventional. The dash, the layout, the controls, everything just feels like you'd gotten out of a different Hyundai Kia vehicle. It's familiar, it's clean, and none of it there's no tax on you for having driven an electric vehicle. It feels like a normal vehicle, but it looks cool. Yeah, I like that vehicle a lot. And I wish the tax credit applied to it, but it does not at the moment.
It does not at the moment. May at some point, but does not at the moment. An interesting thing is I was talking to a designer about electric vehicles, and the only reason that they're the shape that they are is because people expect cars to be that shape. But they have an open palette to design these electric cars because the powertrain is basically a skateboard. They can build whatever they want on top of it, but people want them to look like a car.
Yeah, there's a strange fun fact about the Chevy Blazer EV, currently not being produced because of software problems, but let's get past that for a moment. And that's the fact that the car is available with front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, and all-wheel drive because a lot of the limitations, as you noted, John, of building a conventional car don't apply to electric vehicles, so you can do a lot more with it. Although that vehicle is relatively conventionally shaped, however.
Yeah.
It is.
All right, we've got one more.
That's the only way that people will buy it.
That's true, yeah.
One more car, the class of vehicle that everybody says they don't want to buy, but once they drive it, they never want to give it up.
That's so
Honda
true.
Odyssey, best minivan for the money.
I'm surprised by this one, and I agree that the Odyssey is a great vehicle, but it's the oldest vehicle in the class.
It is, and it was surprising to us too. You look at the Kia Carnival. That 10-year warranty, it beat the Kia Carnival. Toyota Sienna, higher price, but hybrid, great mileage, all-wheel drive available. Chrysler Pacifica, available as a plug-in hybrid. But when you run the numbers, Honda Odyssey comes out for I think the 4th year out of 6, it won best minivan for the money.
Yeah, and there's stuff to like about the Odyssey. I know that it's old, but you still get it's the best handling. That's subjective, I realize, but it's the best handling of the bunch. And it might be the nicest drivetrain. That V6 and automatic just really work well together.
Yeah.
It's actually the minivan that I own. And,
well, there you go. There's an endorsement. There's an endorsement.
Yeah, I had nothing to do with the scoring, but I own an Odyssey. It's not quite stock anymore because my wife drives it like a Porsche Cayenne. but it's fantastic.
Yeah, well, and plus, because it's older in its life cycle, that means it's less likely to break because they've worked out a lot of the bugs that sometimes crop up in, like, newly designed or next-gen vehicles. So, it may seem like it's a little old techie, but it's just one of those old faithfuls.
No, and when
Exactly.
when an auto journalist calls something old, too, it's because we see cars every year.
That's true. We see all the latest and greatest tech.
So we have these expectations that things be updated frequently, and that's not necessarily something that consumers expect or even need.
That's fair.
And the Odyssey is an excellent vehicle, and it always has been.
Yeah.
The only unfortunate thing about the Odyssey is that it lost one of its best features a couple of years ago because the company that was making its vacuum cleaner went out of business.
Yeah.
So you can't get the vacuum in the Odyssey anymore.
That was a shame because that was pretty cool. Now, I never owned a minivan, and I just had the one child, so we didn't usually have Cheerios bouncing around in the car. But if you did, and I had friends with more kids,
Right.
yeah, a built-in vacuum would have been a thing they would have appreciated.
Yeah, we don't have kids. We have the minivan for the dog.
Yeah, I was going to say
Okay.
pets.
And vacuuming up dog hair is fantastic.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. John, where can we find out more about this list?
You can go to usnews.com and look at the cars tab.
John, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, that was John Vincent, senior editor with the U.S. News and World Report. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, it's
Quiz time.
quiz time.
Questions or comments?
Drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.
That's carstuff@consumerguide.com. Welcome back to the Car Stuff Podcast.
All right, we're back. This is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast, and it's quiz time. Jill,
Yes.
before the quiz,
Yes.
I forgot. What do we usually do?
Talk about me. My
We
turn.
talk about you.
My turn to talk about social
You have
media.
25 seconds. Go.
Can I take like a minute, 25 seconds?
No, a minute. I'll give you a minute. That's
Okay.
we have negotiated.
All right.
Yeah.
So I am on all of the socials.
50 seconds.
You can find me. Well, I'm docking you. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Post, Twitter, Threads. All the things at Jill Simonello, and I use the hashtag car du jour. So that's probably the best way to find me because Simonello can be hard to spell.
I find LinkedIn baffling. Have I mentioned this?
No.
I don't like LinkedIn.
Why?
I don't know. It's kludgy. It's awkward. I never understand how the threads work. It's the opposite of Facebook. Facebook is so clear and transparent to me. And I don't know what it is, but people can follow me on LinkedIn if they want. I don't do much there but talk about the podcast.
Yeah, I post a lot of my Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk articles there. And lately I've been posting a lot of EV things on there. And so I actually have gotten quite the following from people who are building infrastructure and people who are interested in EV things. So we've been having some good conversations on my LinkedIn page. I may not accept it as the friendship, but you can always follow me.
Yeah, I don't know how many friends I need. I did just write a piece, though, about Tesla in 2024. It's just some predictions, so people can read that. I did link to that on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I linked on LinkedIn.
You linked to it? So what are your predictions?
Do you want to talk about those now? I have two big predictions.
Okay, let's talk about before I'm delaying the quiz.
That's fine. I've got two big predictions and then some smaller predictions.
Okay.
First big prediction is that Tesla's any sort of rating or review or quality survey of Tesla is going to drop this year.
Okay.
And the reason that that's going to happen is not because the quality of the vehicles has declined, but because the new owners, and there's been an inrush of new owners, right? They've lowered the prices.
Right.
People who aren't fanboys
Right.
are buying Teslas now, and they're not going to protect the brand in the same way. So they're going to respond to surveys more honestly, and we're just going to hear more of the truth about how Teslas are or are not especially reliable.
Yeah, and quality, because there are a lot of quality issues, like from gaps and
paint issues, panel
and,
gaps, yeah.
So I think we're gonna the Teslarati is gonna be overruled.
So I think that's going to happen this year. And the other big one, I think, is that we're going to hear an announcement from Tesla, no matter how mild it is, about some infrastructure, some brick and mortar.
Okay.
I think that if they're going to continue to sell and sell in volume, they're going to need more stores.
They're gonna need more something.
They're going to need, because people are going to want to feel better about where they get their car fixed.
Right.
You know, a lot of the early buyers had another car, weren't worried about it. It's a big deal.
They were early adapters and, okay with the growing pains. My brother-in-law was an early buyer of Tesla. And on his test drive, they gave him a Tesla for 3 days to drive. This is before he bought it. And it bricked on the side of the road, and he bought it anyway.
Yes, that's the kind of person.
That's the kind of person.
And then when a survey comes, they love the car. No problems.
They love it. There were no problems.
None whatsoever.
No.
Ignore that fire.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
I didn't say the fire.
Don't ignore the fire. Ignore the fact that it got bricked on the side of the road.
If your car is on fire, deal with it.
Yeah, don't ignore that.
Ignore my comment about Tesla's bursting into flames, which is not a thing.
It's not a thing.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
You did not say that at all
right.
on live radio. No.
Your stalling is over. It's quiz time. Are you ready?
This
is a great topic.
Oh.
Today's topic is, was it ever?
Okay.
Was it ever?
Was it ever?
I'm going to give you a brand, and then I'm going to give you 3 models. You have to tell me which one of those vehicles was never.
Was never. So was it
model.
ever never?
Yep.
Got it.
Are you ready?
Hopefully this will be less confusing than last week's quiz, which was really confusing to me.
I actually have not listened to last week's quiz yet because it felt like it was confusing.
It was confusing. You did not explain it well.
Totally
I only understood it after it was over, and I was like, now I understand what you were trying to say.
That was totally on you.
Yeah, no, that was totally on you.
Yeah, it was a confusing quiz. This one's not confusing.
Okay. Was it ever? Never.
Was it ever?
Never.
Ford.
Okay.
I need you to tell me. I'm going to give you 3 models.
Okay.
Which one was never a Ford?
Which one was never a Ford? Could it have been another model from someplace else?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Because sometimes you do that, and then you're like, wait, that sounds familiar.
That's tricky. Yeah, I didn't do that this time.
Thank you.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Ford.
Okay.
Fairlane. Mm-hmm. Fairmont. Mm-hmm. Fairweather.
Are you a fair weather friend?
Yes. I will totally abandon you in a time of need.
I got that. Okay.
Or if it's just inconvenient for me to be
there. Got it. Well, I know the Fairlane is definitely a Ford.
Okay. In fact, Ford headquarters is on Fairlane Avenue or something. I
don't know.
Yeah.
But they could have just made that up for no reason.
They could have.
But as far as Fairmont or fair weather is concerned, I would feel like it would be a bad idea to name a car fair weather because you'd be like, is it or is it not going to work today? Is it a fair weather car? It's raining.
I always thought that about the name Caprice, the Chevy Caprice. I'm like, that's a terrible name for a car.
Why?
Capriciousness? That doesn't, yeah.
Well, so my boyfriend in college, their family had Caprices, and he used to call it the Cap Rice.
That would get old pretty quick.
It never did.
I feel like I did that too, and someone should have hit me for it. You're stalling.
I am fair weather. I'm going to say fair weather.
You're correct.
All right.
Yeah, there is no fair weather. The Fairmont, little boxy thing that was built in starting around 80 through the 80s.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain how the quiz works?
Yeah, 6 points total.
Yes.
5 regular questions, 1 bonus question. You need 3 for a total win.
Okay, and you did not get to say your favorite line, so...
Nope, you got a point.
I got a point.
All right, Plymouth.
Yes.
Plymouth. Mm-hmm. Barracuda. Mm-hmm. Brighton. Mm-hmm. Breeze.
Ooh. I feel like Barracuda was definitely... Mm-hmm. And what was the middle one?
Brighton.
Brighton, and then Breeze?
Breeze.
I feel like Breeze was too. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Brighton.
You were 2 for 2.
Wow.
You're on a roll. You've gotten the last 8 questions correct.
I know. That's crazy.
All right.
Because I had a perfect quiz last week. I'm just going to point that out.
You're on your way to a perfect...
Even though I was confused.
I'm going to jinx you now. You're on your way to a perfect quiz this week.
No.
Mitsubishi.
Okay.
Sigma. Starion. Scoville.
So Scoville is a unit of measure, I feel like.
That would be a weird name for a car.
It would be.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of any of these as it relates to Mitsubishi. I was waiting for like the Endeavor or, something that maybe I've heard of. So I'm gonna go with Scoville.
You are correct. You were 3 for 3. You've gotten the last 9 correct.
Wow. So
Sigma.
And I've already won.
The Sigma, yes, you have. The Sigma was a large sedan, kind of ahead of its time, Maxima-like in its place in the lineup in the late 80s.
Oh, okay.
And the Starion, legendary amongst fanboys.
Oh, yeah.
Rear drive, 2.6-liter turbocharged engine. It was a crazy, cool, good-looking car. You want to look at the Starion.
Okay.
It was sold by Chrysler as the Conquest.
Not familiar with that either.
All right. Mazda.
Mazda.
Ready?
My particularly favorite brand.
By the way, did you notice I've been going with alliteration?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. I want points for that.
No,
It takes time.
it does.
It takes time, and really, it's a tribute to the quality of the quiz.
If you went with the alphabetization as well as some alliteration, maybe I would give you points for that.
Too much work. All right, Mazda. The Nouveau. The Navajo. The 929.
So I like new Mazda. I'm not as familiar with the old Mazda. So 929 sounds like it would be a Mazda because I know Mazda likes their numerical designations. What were the other two?
The Navajo and the Nouveau.
Mazda Navajo, Mazda Nouveau. I'm going to say that the Navajo was not a Mazda.
You broke your streak. No, the Navajo was based on the Ford Explorer.
Okay.
And it was sold only as a two-door back when SUVs were getting really hot in the early 90s.
Okay.
Very rare.
Okay.
No one wanted a two-door Explorer-type vehicle.
And yet they came out with a two-door Bronco many moons later.
They did.
Yeah.
It's kind of a different thing, but yeah. All right, you're just doing this for fun now.
No,
Buick.
because I already won.
Yep. Buick.
Okay, Buick.
The Riata. The Roadmaster. The Rochester.
I know the Roadmaster was one. I'm pretty sure that's what my uncle used to own. And you said Riata, and
Riata.
then what was the last one?
Rochester.
I'm going to say the Rochester was not.
Correct.
Because I feel like the Riata was like a sportier one.
It was a sport coupe from the late 80s, early 90s? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a kind of a good-looking car. Kind of a weird car. It was never really high performance, unfortunately. And Rochester was a manufacturer of carburetors that General Motors used.
Okay. And it's also a city in New York.
It is that, too.
Yeah.
I'm sure that because there was a Rochester plant. I don't know that, but usually
Yeah.
so many automotive things are named for where they're from.
Yeah.
All right, you got 3. You are a winner. We go to the bonus question.
I got 4, by the way.
No.
You gave me an X on that last one. I got the Buick one. I said Rochester was
Oh, yeah,
number
you
one.
did. You got 4.
You're trying to like take my points away.
I am.
I got 4.
All right. Jill, how many squirrels are there on Earth?
So this is the bonus question.
It is. This isn't the
That
question.
has
though.
everything to do with
Yeah.
automotive.
This is a prelude to the question.
Okay.
Squirrels. You know about
Okay.
squirrels.
I do. We actually have a couple of black squirrels in my neighborhood,
Do you?
which is very rare because they're usually in Michigan.
Yeah, I don't. We just have regular gray ones around our house. We have rabbits again.
Okay.
The coyotes have gotten lazy. To answer the question, because
Okay.
you were stalling,
There's a lot.
200 to 300 million squirrels on the planet.
Okay.
So not nearly as many as there are people, but there's a lot of squirrels.
There's a lot of squirrels.
Yeah. So anyway, which of the following is a species of squirrel found in the U.S.? Actually, I need you to identify the fake species.
Okay.
So I've got 3 real species, 1 fake species of squirrels found in the U.S.
Okay.
Are you ready? Mm-hmm. The hoary marmot,
Okay.
the Douglas squirrel, the Eurasian red squirrel, the Otto cycle squirrel.
So
Since I didn't do anything to indicate which one is real, you can look at the list if you like.
and when you say auto cycle, it's OTTO. At first I thought
Yep.
you said auto,
Like a German guy.
like AUTO, and I was
That would be topical.
that would be. I know there's a Douglas fir, Eurasian red squirrel. That kind of makes sense to me.
Sounds real.
When I was looking, because black squirrels don't usually happen in Chicago, and so I was like looking them up, and none of these names popped up as pertaining to the black squirrel. I'm just going to put that out there.
All right.
I'm going to say the auto cycle squirrel is not real.
It's not. That is actually the patent for the 4-cycle engine that was sometime in the 1820s.
Okay.
What was his name? It wasn't Carl Otto. Anyway, some dude named Otto patented the gasoline engine.
Some dude named Otto.
Yeah, the
he
Otto
would
cycle
love to
engine.
be referred as some dude, I'm sure.
So you picked that correct. So you got 5 out of 6,
Wow, I'm like really
and
killing
11
it
of the
lately.
last 12.
I know, I'm killing it.
Very good.
Killing it.
All right, what do you got going on?
So actually, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole last week. As you know, we both
looking for black squirrels.
Looking for black squirrels. No. Although that would be appropriate. No. So we talked about driving the Cadillac Lyriq last week, right?
Yes.
And I posted my little mini social media review to Facebook, and I dinged the fact that the Google system on that vehicle is going to be up for subscription. It currently has a free trial.
Yes.
And it will be subscriber-based. And somebody from General Motors chimed into my feed, and they're like, but Jill, it's free for 8 years. And 8 years is a really long way off.
Well, it's going to cover the first owner.
And so I was just like, okay, it's 8 years off. Well, so what's the fee going to be when you charge it? And they're like, well, because it's so far off, we don't know yet. So I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole and essentially just wrote an article. And it doesn't have like hard facts or anything in it, but it's just a little bit of, hey, heads up. If you have something, that's probably really cool on your vehicle, like XM radio or Super Cruise or, a cloud-based navigation. It's free right now, but the time will come that it is not free. It could be a year, it could be 3 years, it could be 8 years. But so I wrote an article called The Truth About Subscription Fees.
It's a good thing for people to know about. An interesting thing about navigation systems, when I started Consumer Guide back in 2002, we had a long-term Lincoln Navigator, which was an early vehicle with a navigation system, and it was CD-driven. So we had this ridiculous case of, I think, 16 CDs
right?
to cover the entire United States and maybe Canada, and I don't know if it covered Mexico. But the crazy thing about it was you had to update them. Yeah. Because these were old at
And
some
if you were
point.
driving, you had to switch them out if you were leaving like the Midwest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You'd have to switch them. Like if you're going to Iowa at some point, like by the time you hit the I-80 truck stop,
yeah, you got to switch into the new CD.
You had to switch discs. It was pretty weird. And so now that switching and changing is being handled remotely. So there is real-time updates. Like my daughter has, I've mentioned this vehicle, a 2014 Nissan Juke, and she's stopped using the navigation system in the car because it's really old. Yeah. And it hasn't been updated in any way. And I think I can get it updated, but what a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Well, and so a lot of the argument about these Google-based systems that that General Motors is putting in their vehicles, they're doing away with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto because they want you to use their Google-based system. And my argument is, why would you do such a thing? Because when that 8-year subscription is up, which 8 years is going to pass a lot faster than what you think, because 4 years passed really quickly. And so I want to have the backup of my phone mirroring system. And they're saying, nope.
Yeah. The other thing going on there, too, is I think most new car buyers buy a new car roughly every cycle, every 4 or 5 years, basically when the payment of the lease is up. This is going to be a big hassle for secondhand owners who aren't looking for that kind of expense.
That is true.
All right. Guess what we did?
We talked about a lot of good stuff today.
We did. Thank you to John Vincent of U.S. News and World Report for joining us today. Thank you to Jennifer Morand of the Chicago Auto Show.
And thank you for Jennifer Morand.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for Jennifer Morand. She is
awesome.
She is awesome. Thank you, Jill. Thank you to producer Randy and the good folks here at Talk Zone. Let's talk more about cars again
next week.
Remember to check us out at consumerguide.com.
The Car Stuff Podcast is produced by J-Turn Media.
To advertise on the show, please drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.